Hello, welcome back to River Church Online. As you can see, I am by myself in my window today. Mark is currently travelling back from the Alps, where he has been bike riding for the weekend with all of his friends. So we'll let him off. He's had lots of fun. I think he's very, very tired and will crawl through the door at some point. So if he makes it in time, I'm sure he'll come say hello. But in the meantime, you have me waffling at your beautiful faces. So if you're there, say hello. And we will get your names up and acknowledge your presence and your wonderfulness in joining us this evening. So we've had quite a long break since the last one. So thank you for coming back. It's nice to have people still there. And this series is going to be a 5-week series about Jesus in real life. So we've got different people coming each week to join us and have some fun and chat about how they do real life with Jesus in it, whether that's making decisions or in their different roles and jobs and situations. So hopefully it will be encouraging and fun, and we'll have some laughs along the way. So with me today, I have got Hannah, my trusty side, there with her banana loaf. Hannah, stuffing.
My mum made banana loaf on Father's Day, so I brought some home with me.
That's brilliant. So have you had a nice afternoon, Hannah? Did you do anything?
We just went to my parents' house and basically just had a nice chill afternoon. You had all of me and my sisters there, and my older sister's fiance and my younger sister's husband all just in our house.
Nice. I love it. That's good.
We did a couple of quizzes and such, and just kind of just chilled all together, really. Ate
proper family time. That's good. It's good. Who have we got? Marlene is with us. Hi, Marlene.
Hi, Marlene.
Have you? And Ratan, one of our loyal.
Ratan.
Alice and Al. Yes, I am by myself, but I'm sure Mark's sending love wherever he is at the moment. Hopefully landing in an airport. And Charlotte is already with us as well. We've got some Keenies coming in. So lovely to have you. Oh, and Grace.
Yay, Grace.
Grace. Good to have you with us. That's lovely. So yeah, if you are watching and haven't said hello, then say hello to us and we'll get your name on the screen for your 10 seconds of River Church Online fame, which everyone wants and needs in their life. So yes, do that. This evening, oh hello, look, some more are popping up. Tracy, our Devon Massive are coming in. Hi Tracy. How is your kitchen, Tracy? Tracy's been having a kitchen overhaul in the last week. Let us know how your kitchen is, Tracy. Amazing. And Marlene says Dion is hiding with her as well. Always hiding, Dion.
Dion's always there.
I feel like maybe Dion's just too lazy to type anything. Maybe it always comes to Marlene. He's done his Sunday. Oh, look, there you go. Ratan is saying hi to Hannah.
Hi,
Ratan. Brilliant. Okay, so keep saying hello to us. Give us some hearts. We've got one heart already. That is brilliant. My screen's frozen already, so I am flying a little bit blind, but that's all good. It's still coming through on the feed, so we'll work with it. So, Hannah, you'll need to be my buttons, I'm afraid, for a minute.
Yay.
We've
got one from Sam. He's saying hello as well.
Yeah. Hi, Sam. Nice to have you. I'm going to move my phone up here so I can see it. There we go.
It's looking good.
Good. Nice to have you with us. Tracy with her kitchen. Brilliant. What colour did you go for, Tracy? We need some details of kitchen goodness. Right. Also with us this afternoon, this evening. It's definitely evening now. We have got someone very, very, very special joining us, and I say that because she is related to me. Haha. So a very, very blessed woman indeed. We've got my auntie. So my auntie Sarah is here. There she is. Hello. Nice to see you. Good. Oh, my screen is maybe unfreezing. Nope, there we go. Thank you for joining us, Auntie Sarah.
Good to be with you.
I will, we did have a conversation earlier about whether I would say auntie or not. So apologise if that is inconsistent for the evening. It's ingrained in my brain. So we'll see how we go. So we have Auntie Sarah with us because she said yes to us asking, basically. But we thought it would be quite nice to get some different people on who have different roles. So at the moment, Sarah is a social worker, which we will get to a bit later. It's blah blah blah. It's been a long time since I've been here. This is very, very confusing for me just without Mark. Now, before we begin and get any further, we've got something fun to do first off, and we have got some childhood myths. I was talking to my children the other day, and they have very, very weird things that they believe. Or that they did believe. They're all slightly older now, so less of an issue, thankfully. But it came about, we went on holiday in the May half term, and my daughter took it upon herself to share with our friend's daughter that Father Christmas is definitely not real. And being in May, I hadn't even thought about the possibility that would come up in conversation in May. So it got us thinking, and then we were talking about other things that maybe they believe, or children believe, or don't believe to be true. So mine, I'll start us off, is I always believed that fish could swim up the plug hole. And that was a real issue when I was little. And I would always get out of the bath before taking the plug out and then do it really quickly, because I don't like fish, and I don't like fish in the water. People who know me will know that I don't like fish at all, or being in somewhere where fish can touch me. So that was a real issue. And even when we were married, I think probably Mark used to laugh at me when we first got married, because I would worry about the plug coming out before I got out of the bath and it filling with fish. So that's a real life issue, people. Trauma right there. There we go. Do you have it?
My parents always used to tell us that if you sat too close to the TV, your eyes would go square.
Yes,
which was
that's fun.
That was just a way of them like trying to get us to sit further back. It worked most of the time, but I think there were points where we were like rebellious kids and just sit closer to the TV because we just wanted to. It was also the thing of, that's a very strange myth to think, looking back on it, but we heard it so often. It was just like, it just became ingrained into us that sit too close to TV, your eyes are going to go square.
I love it. Sarah, have you got any that you had?
Well, I couldn't think of any for me, and I even spoke to my mum this morning to go, was there anything? And she said she couldn't. But then I was speaking to Paul yesterday, and his one is just so good, I'm going to embarrass him by sharing his instead. He was convinced that whenever he went to the beach, if he put his toe in the water, wherever his toe went, a big crab would be there to eat his toe. And then if he took another step, there would be another crab in that spot to take the other toe. So, I'm afraid we had quite a lot of laughs about that one yesterday. So,
crabs. What do they do when they run out of toes? That's the question, isn't it? Does it just?
I don't know. What do they do when they run out of toes? He's the other side of the room, so we'll ask him.
Before it gets to then, I've run back out to the water.
He's not got that far, he said. He's run the other way.
Fair enough.
It kind of makes sense. He's never been a fan of going to the beach. So now, after 30 years of marriage, I know why.
He suddenly understands. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Maybe the phobia of water creatures runs in our genetics. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe it is a codner thing, Alice. Yeah.
Indeed. Marlene's saying definitely can't book one of those fish eating at your feet experiences for you then, Alice. No, that would literally be my ideal of absolute, I don't even know, like that's not, no, that makes me feel funny. So if you're watching and you've got any childhood myths that you believed when you were little, or maybe that your kids believed, or even that you've just heard, let us know. We have got a couple of videos that some of our lovely church have recorded themselves saying what their myths were. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is Tim, who you'll recognise, who's with us on here every now and again. And I think this is the weirdest one that I've ever heard. So I'm going to pop that up now for us to watch.
I remember being told as a child on the way to the circus that candy floss was actually just recycled elephant poo. And being 6 or 7, I think I thoroughly believed it for quite a long time. Whoops.
So I actually clarified this with him, and he gave me the name of the person who had told him that on the way to the circus, and he really did genuinely believe it. So that's the one that's out there, because I hadn't heard that one before.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
No. I mean, who even says that, really, you know? We've got another one here
I couldn't even think to say it, to be honest.
clearly someone who didn't want to have to buy Tim candy floss at the circus. We've also got one here from Sam.
So something I believed when I was younger was that the reason you needed to get onto an aeroplane to visit another country is that the other countries were actually on the clouds, and that's why you had to fly.
That's so innocent. That's so cute. I like that one.
Isn't that quite lovely? I love that. That's brilliant. Oh, Sam's commented what she said. One way. Oh, she's commenting on Tim's one way out of buying candy floss. Yes, I may use that in the future, although I may have to wait until I've got smaller children with me to use the candy floss one. But yeah, the aeroplane one, I love that. Have you read one? There's a book, The Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. And so at the top of the tree, the tree reaches the clouds, and then every week or every so many days, the clouds move, like it spins through. And there's a new land at the top of the tree on the clouds. It reminds me of that. I love that. I think that's great.
It is. It's just so innocent, isn't it? The fact of the idea of you have to go into the clouds just to get a new tree.
Yeah.
A new place. Yeah. It's so cute.
I love it. That's great. Now we've got Marlene here. Marlene, I think Marlene did 2 or 3. So this is slightly longer.
A few childhood myths of mine. If I swallow chewing gum, it's going to make my insides stick together. I still don't swallow my chewing gum. Plus I actually hardly ever eat chewing gum. Another one. If I swallow the seeds of watermelons are going to grow inside my tummy. Plus, a man in a big coat is going to catch me if I wander off or if I don't listen.
There's some proper scare tactics going on from Marlene's parents. Was that your parents, Marlene, that told you that a man in a big coat is going to come and catch you? Oh my goodness, that's like traumatizing.
Either she watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang too much, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. At least he didn't have a net and a big nose as well. Good grief.
I hated the child catcher growing up.
My brothers used to have nightmares. You could have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with him. He would have dreams. Watermelon seeds, though, inside, that's quite common. I looked at
apple seed. Heard that one before.
Yeah. Apple seeds it used to be for us.
Yeah, my grandma, so my uncle's mum, she eats whole apples. I don't know if she still does now. She's quite old now, but she definitely used to when we were little. She used to eat the whole of the apple, and every time she'd eat the whole core and just end up with this little bit of stick left. And we all just used to look at her like she was absolutely nuts in the corner of the garden, eating her whole apple. But she never grew a tree, so clearly it didn't work. There we go. And then I've got one more video here, which is Tano, and he's recorded this from France whilst they're all away. So it's very noisy in the background, so you have to listen carefully, and I apologise in advance for the bad sound on this one.
So when I was in primary school, I went to a nun school, and I used to think, I believed that there were nuns spying me at home, like hiding in the bits at the top of the windows where the shutters go. And I was just so convinced that they were there spying if I did my homework or if I was being naughty. And I I was quite scared until I worked up the courage to like stick my tongue out and be rude at people. And then I go to school and feel guilty. But yeah, I totally believed it.
So a little bit of context. Tanya is Italian, and so they went to everything that they had around them when they were going so yeah, nuns in the school was quite normal, I think, for them. So yeah, nuns spying on you when you grew up to check you were behaving. Good grief. What have we got here? Sam is feeling for Tanya, you poor child. Yes. Okay, Dion has put one up. Blowing your wart to the moon 3 times and it will disappear. Funny enough, my brother did it and it worked. One. No. Good grief. Who told you that even? Blowing on your wart 3 times. Unbelievable. At least he's commenting for himself. Give him that. Oh, look. Tracy Robbins. My mother told me that I was an alien. Ooh. And they would come and get me sometime. I would go to the park, and when it was dark, to look in the sky for spaceships. Oh, Tracy, that's lovely that you went to look for spaceships. I think your mum just wanted 5 minutes peace and quiet. Maybe I'll do that. Come up with a reason for them to go stargazing. That's the way forward. Brilliant. Okay, so if you have any more, keep putting them in the comments, and then maybe we'll get some up a bit later on. But yeah, so that is all very fun. There were lots of them online. If you look online, there are so many different ones that children believe. One that I quite liked was that a blanket can protect you from anything. So when you were little, do you remember like running into bed and getting the blanket up, and then it wasn't scary anymore? If you were scared of the dark or of monsters or noises or things, you'd have the blanket over you. Remember that. And I also remember there's one here. If you don't start running the moment you turn off the light, monsters will find and devour you. And I used to live in a conference centre with really long corridors, and my bedroom was the other side of the house. So after I'd said goodnight to my mum and dad, they were up a floor and on the other side. So I would say goodnight, come down the stairs and literally peg it down the hall. And there was a fire door even halfway through, and I used to get told off for banging the fire door because I'd like bash it open to run through so quickly. All of these things that scar us as we grow. There we go. Okay, so we have got 2. Oh, what have we got? We have got 2 more. Let's do those quickly before we get into proper.
We just done that one.
Oh, we've done that one. Here we go. It's a different Tracy. I used to be warned about pulling faces. I was told if the wind changed, my face would stay that way. Definitely. Probably quite a few people got told that, I think.
Yeah, I got that one quite a lot.
It's good. Right. Okay. Let's crack on and pretend that we're here to give people something other than just our faces and waffle about childhood random beliefs. So, Auntie Sarah, you are a Christian, I hope. That's why we're here. And so, where is that coming from? I have an echo. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk quietly. Maybe it's when I talk loudly. Okay, we're going to carry on. If it's too much to bear, guys, put it in the comments and we will try and sort it out. But hopefully it will go away again. So Auntie Sarah is with us. At the moment, she is a social worker. But we are going to come back to that in a little bit. So we're going to start. If Auntie Sarah, you can introduce yourself, maybe tell us a bit about you, how you became a Christian. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine. I'm Auntie Sarah, or Sarah, depending on who you are. I've been Auntie Sarah for 30 years now, Alice. Alice was our bridesmaid 30 years, or one of our bridesmaids 30 years ago. I was very blessed being brought up in a Christian home. Both my parents are Christians, and I can never not remember not believing. And I was quite young when I first gave my heart then to the Lord and made a commitment to Jesus, that I wanted him to be part of my life. And that doesn't mean that my life's been plain sailing ever since, but I can definitely see that his hand has been on it ever since. And it's something that's grown and developed over the years, I guess, like as we mature from children to adults.
I love it.
Currently live West Wales with my husband Paul, who is Uncle Paul. That is the relation, isn't it, Alice?
Yeah. I would not manage to not say uncle if he was on here. I wouldn't be able to do that at all.
He's just over there,
Hiding in the corner.
listening in. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So before you lived in Wales, you lived in Plymouth.
We did, yeah.
Why did you move to Wales? That seems like a random, but yeah. And when you moved to Wales from Devon, which I think is the best place in the world, so I don't understand, but it's fine. When you did move, was that something that was like a purely practical decision that you made, or was it something that God had been telling you, or you felt Jesus kind of saying, go here?
It started off as a really practical decision. Okay, we'd been married for, I think it was 4 years before we moved to Wales, and we'd started to try for a family, and it wasn't happening as we thought it would be happening. And you know, if you're going through that, you do kind of feel you'll try anything, you know, lots of things that people suggest. And it was put to us that, well, maybe if you weren't working full time, Sarah, there'd be maybe a bit less stress, and that would maybe work. And that's where we first started talking and thinking. And we decided that maybe, you know, if Paul could find a job where we weren't dependent upon my income.
Yeah.
And that's where it stemmed from. So it was then, where do you look for a job? So to begin with, we were like, we're young, we'll look anywhere and everywhere. We then felt it was right to narrow it down, and we narrowed down our search to somewhere where we knew of a church. I know there's churches everywhere, but we just felt it was really important that we went somewhere where there was a link.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of interviews, or that's a very royal we, having interviews lined up. I wasn't being interviewed to work on a farm, Paul was. And we came up to Wales. We came up the night before so we could visit the church on the Sunday morning. We came up after I finished work on the Saturday, walked in, and we actually had someone say, oh, we've been praying for you to join us. We've been praying for a young couple to come. And we just felt really loved, really welcomed. And people were like, oh, we're so excited you're joining us. And we're like, we haven't even had a job interview yet. We're going there later on this afternoon. So it just then felt that when Paul was offered that job, that it was the right one and the right move for us to take. And so what started as a really practical thing from our terms was a move that absolutely the Lord had his hand on. And Jesus wanted us to be here. And we can look back now and say, we've even said whether we would have survived as a couple if we hadn't have made this move, with the hospital things we ended up having to go through and the stress that caused, because we relied on each other and the Lord rather than relying on other family and parents that we both had living nearby. So it meant we stayed close together with each other and with the Lord. So yeah, practical to start with, but the Lord had it in his plans 100%.
That's amazing. I love that. That's so I think that's the way it sometimes works, isn't it? That actually we get an idea in our head, and then sometimes, well, hopefully if we're in the right place with God and praying and listening to him, then he does actually come through 100% of the time, actually.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Yeah, well, I think just going from that wide kind of practical, we needed to change income circumstances, but then actually going, but no, we want to be right in this, and we want to be where you want us to be, Lord, meant that he could then guide it.
Yeah. How important was it when you walked into the church then that, I mean, obviously as Christians, you knew what church was and what you were going to walk into, and, you know, we all have our preconceived ideas, whether we believe in God or not, about what church is going to be like. How important was it for you when you walked in to feel welcomed and just accepted?
Huge, absolutely huge. I think that's something we've all got to do. If we can't show that kind of love and genuine care for people,
Yeah.
what are we saying? Because that's ultimately what Jesus has shown us, isn't it? Individually, is that he loves and cares for us, and he just wants to welcome us. So surely we should be doing exactly the same for whoever it is that walks through the door, whether
Yeah.
they're known or not known. And it was the first time I'd really experienced it for myself, because every other time I'd moved to a church, it had been with my parents, and as a child, as we relocated and moved to different areas. So it was the first time that we'd gone into a church as Paul and Sarah as well, rather than Paul being Michael's younger brother and me being my parents' daughter, you know, which is how we were more known previously. So it was, yeah, it made massive difference, because it was a big move.
Yeah. Well, you were on your own, weren't you? Because there was none of the family were in Wales, were
No, we moved here. We left all family behind when we moved. You know, both sets of parents. I mean, Paul had never lived anywhere other than Plymouth.
Yeah.
Anywhere. He lived at home with mum and dad until we got married, and then he'd been in our home. So he'd not even left Devon to live, you know. He used to think Exeter was going a long way. So it was, you know, it was a massive move. We didn't even get to see the accommodation we were gonna be living in, because it was accommodation that came with the job, but the previous people were still in it, so they couldn't show it to us when we came up to an interview. We just saw it from a distance, and we were just like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll, you know, it's the right move. It's where we've got to go.
Love that.
Mad now when I think about it.
Grace is just put up, when God is in it, you feel the peace. That's so true, isn't it? Everything, every step of the way. Brilliant. So you moved to Wales. Uncle Paul has a job, and you have to find a job. Is that the plan?
No, didn't do anything initially, but quite quickly found I needed to, because I needed to do something, because I'd gone from working full time to being at home on a farm at the top of a hill. Didn't really know many people, 40 minutes drive from the church. So I did start working part-time then in a local supermarket, which, you know, was fine. And that's what I did for quite a while before that became full time then. And then once we had been told that we were not going to be able to have children of our own, I kind of threw myself more into, well, I've got to get on with working now. So I did management training there.
So you got your job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm echoing again. You got your job, and then you fell into fostering, but I'm not sure if that's the right term or not. Whether you fell into it, because some people would say that's a big decision. Other people will say it was just natural. Other people who maybe can't have their own family will see that as the next step. Like, logically, there's lots of different approaches to going into it, isn't it? Was that something? How did you decide to start that route? And then also, tell us, how did you decide what kind of age or category you went into the fostering? Because you didn't just go in for babies, did you?
Not at all. It's different for everyone, and there is no right or wrong, and I think that's really important to stress, because I would hate for someone to be listening and going, well, I feel it should be done totally differently, because it's personal to everybody. We went through lots of different hospital investigations and different stuff, and we were told that our only route to be able to consider having our own family was if we went for full IVF. And we'd you know, discussed, we prayed, we talked about it early on, and we, for us, had decided early on that that wasn't a route we were prepared to take. We would go up to that route, but we didn't feel it was right for us. And we'd always said we would rather foster or adopt than do that for ourselves, you know, and that's for someone else, it's a totally different, and they've that's where they want to go, and that's fine as well. It took quite a long while, Alice, because you have to get over the emotional impact of being told that you can't have a family. And we were told it twice. We were told we couldn't. Then we had someone else, another doctor, give us some hope, which was then taken away again. And for me, if you'd asked me as a child what my ambition was, it was to grow up, get married, and have a family. So, you know, it was massive. So it took a long time before emotionally we felt ready. So by this time we've been married 14 years. So it's a long time to be just the two of you. So we felt if we did fostering, we could kind of stop fostering. Whereas if we went for an adoption, that's kind of it. And we were really worried about how would it be? If, you know, would we like it? We've got kind of used to just being us. So that's why we went to do fostering. And I mean, that's an intense process in itself to go through. And then with registration, we decided that we'd be only registered to take children from the age of 2 to 18, because I was worried that if we had babies, that I would struggle to give babies back, because that's the idea with fostering, is you're doing it temporary and hopefully the children can go back to their families. So yeah, we were registered for 2 to 18-year-olds. And nothing can prepare you for fostering. That's all I would say. Best thing, hardest thing. Yeah, it has its own difficulties, but it was, you know, it was what was right for us at that time, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. So you did all the registration and jumped in, and then I guess there's quite a lot of training in different rings that you have to jump through on the way, isn't there? And then how did you find getting your first placement, your first foster placement?
Wow. We did a couple of really short-term respite ones initially. Okay, for other people while we were waiting for our first placement. That was going to be slightly longer term. We had a teenager who said to me, she'd wish she could have been with us before because we were younger, and a lot of people who are foster are older because it's when they've got the time to do it. And she said to me, I'll never forget it, will you promise me one thing, Sarah? Will you promise to read every child a bedtime story, because nobody ever did it for me, and I wish I'd had a bedtime story. So that one kind of really stuck in my head, you know, the things that I just took for granted. And then then the ones that we had after, I mean, nothing can fully prepare you. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, it's kind of a bit of a shock, because it's not like coming home from what I would imagine it's like coming home with hospital, the baby, and you put the baby down and the baby stays where it is. These were children that could move and talk, and come with their own traumas and their own needs, because otherwise they obviously wouldn't be with you. I'd stopped working for us to do the fostering so that I would be at home full time. That was going to be my full-time role then. But I think when you know you're doing the right thing as well, you'll give them what you need to get through each day. And I think that's probably how I would describe it. It doesn't mean that we got it right every day, I hasten to add. Doesn't mean we were perfect, but you know, it's just that kind of, and I'm sure you probably feel the same just being a parent sometimes as well. It's like, I just need enough to get through today, please, Lord.
Yeah, some days is survival.
Yeah, some days are survival, some days are wins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Stuff, but it's just that kind of, and we were clear right from the beginning, and as part of the assessment, we were Christians, we went to church, and we would our choice would be that any children that were placed with us would come with us. They would be very much part of our family and included in whatever we did. So that was an important factor. So that went on our information sheet that would then go out to any social workers that were looking to place, so that they would know that that was our position.
So did you spend and like together or with other people around you when you had placements come up, or options for you to then take on a placement? And then obviously you did get after however many short temporary placements, you had your longer placement with the older boys. Did you spend time praying about what was the right thing to do and about how you were going to build your faith as part of parenting the foster children and all of those things? Or because I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Like it's quite easy to get into or into a just keeping the children alive and having a nice time, compared to, okay, we are a Christian family and we are building this in, and that might go against what the local authorities or the foster agents are saying. How did that make it a lot harder, or were there things that you had to maybe compromise?
Didn't for us. We had so as a foster carer, you get your own social worker as well as the children having social workers. And the gentleman that did our assessment and was our social worker to begin with was a Christian. So if you ever want to look for the Lord's hand in things, and the placement you're particularly talking about, the social worker was a Christian. And she actually said to me, she said, I'd been praying for the right couple for these children. And as soon as I saw your form, I felt it was the right one. You don't always get a lot of notice when you're having placements. So sometimes you just got a kind of, yes, that's fine, no problem. But yeah, we prayed. You've got to pray about, about these things. And we prayed during our placements as well. Looking back, sometimes I think we maybe could have done a bit more of that together. Would have been good as well. Because we don't always get these things right, do we?
No.
It's a learning thing. But yeah, 100%, we were always really clear and really open that this is us, this is our life. And if that had meant that then we were told, well, you can't, that placement's not right for you, then you'd go, I would just be, well, that's not the right placement for us. The Lord knows which ones are right to come our way.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love, I guess that brings us back to the whole point of these evenings, isn't it? Is Jesus in real life. And sometimes even if we're not, like you say, we can always do it better, can't we? But actually looking back, you can see where God has gone before you and where Jesus has put things into motion so that actually it all comes together. Even the fact that you had a Christian social worker, that your longer term placement had a Christian social worker. Incredible, isn't it, really? It's amazing. We're going to have a song break, I think. I'm going to share a video. And I'm going to try and get rid of the echo on this microphone. There we go. So yeah, we're going to have a song now. And the song is Lord, I Need You. It's a song, I think it fits. It may be a little bit a looser link than we would anticipate, but I think actually from your story, Sarah, and also other people that we've got coming this series, we can't actually do much of what we do without God when we believe in him, actually, can we? So we'll have this song and then we'll come back and we'll get to what you do now.
Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest.
Okay, we are back. So, I think that my voice is coming back from your microphone, Auntie Sarah. So I may have to take turns muting, but it's okay. We'll work it out. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so you moved to Wales. You went through job changes. You went through hospital ups and downs, family planning, stress and trauma and everything else. And then you began fostering. And then as time goes on, as is often the way, life changes again. And I guess really the selling point of why we have you on here really is because you have an interesting job now. So your role now is as a social worker. So you did the training. And I guess it's one of those controversial-ish roles, jobs, careers that Christians can have because, just because of conflicting ideas and the way to bring up children and all of those things that are complicated messes, basically, aren't they? Was it something that was more of a calling, or was it something you fancied doing, or was it just that it made sense? Kind of what made you start to think about social work as a option? I'm going to let the dog into the garden while you answer.
I would say it was a calling. It was never initially in my plan. My life plan, which I think as I've already said, hasn't gone as I would have expected it to have anyway. We were reaching the stage where the young person who we'd taken on guardianship for and had been with us for a long while was going to be moving on to supported living. And it was like reaching the next chapter of our lives, and it's kind of what's next. We're very ready to have some time as a couple again. In the natural progression of things, children should come and be with you for a season and then move on. And I think we're probably around that sort of age now. If we'd had our own biological children, we would have been around that sort of time. But I was like, I've got a lot of years left. What do? I want to use everything that I've learned. I want to use the skills I have. I feel I'm quite good with people. I feel I'm very good with children, young people. I've always done a lot in those things, especially baking chocolate chip cookies with nieces and things like that.
All the important things.
All the important things. And there were just lots of little things that happened, which I think very often can happen when you're kind of open and you're exploring, and just different things that people had said that all dovetailed together to make me feel, I think this could be where I'm being led to next. I did it as an independent student. I wasn't able to go to a brick uni to train because the brick uni is over an hour's drive away from here. And that just was not going to work with family life. So I decided I would do it through Open University. I was told there were 5 or 6 places the year I applied for independent students, because most social worker students with the Open University are sponsored by the local authorities. They use that, so it's people already working. So I was told, don't expect to get in on your first year. You've got to expect to apply at least twice. And I got offered a place on my first time applying, which for me was just a massive confirmation. So it kind of just everything led and pointed to, this is what you should be doing. And I hold on to that, because some days are really tough and some days are really hard, and sometimes the hours are long. And I just have to remind myself, Lord, you put me here, so I'm going to trust that you're not going to give me more than I can manage. You might take me to my limits,
Yeah.
but I am going to keep going and be able to make a difference in people's lives for the better.
Yeah. So when you took it on, obviously you did all the training and stuff, and then you have to go out into the big wide world after training and talk to other social workers and talk to families and take on cases. What did you find, or how did you find that worked alongside your faith?
I think my faith helps me be a good social worker. I was, obviously knowing I was going to do this made me kind of maybe think about it a bit more, because, you just get on with it day to day, don't you? And we were chatting yesterday, and I said to Paul, you know who I think maybe one of the first social workers ever was? I said, I think Jesus was. Because he met people where they were. Okay, he didn't wait for people to come. He went to the people that nobody else necessarily wanted to have anything to do with.
Yeah.
He went to those that had a need, and he showed compassion and love and care.
Yeah.
And that I can do. But at the same time, he also wasn't afraid to stand up, and he would say when things weren't right.
Yeah.
And there are times I have to challenge maybe what's going on in somebody's situation to say, that's not right. But to me, it's about how you then do that. I am very aware that I am bound to come up at some point against something that maybe will really challenge me, because it will maybe be against what I would personally believe.
Yeah.
And it's then I'm in a professional role. And I'm in a role that I believe I'm supposed to be in. I'm in a role that I believe the Lord wants me to be in. So he'll have to help me through that, and he'll have to guide me through it at those times. Because I don't have all the answers. And I think that's kind of a big part of it. So, I think there's a lot of preconceived ideas maybe about the role. Press and media aren't always the kindest to the role. Sometimes it's justified, very often it's not completely. I'm just little old me where I am with those I work with, and if I can go in and show some kindness, professional kindness, if I can show some compassion, if I can listen to their life as how it is for them now, and take that time, then hopefully I can make a difference in terms of, and they can be like, she was different. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, it's not always an easy one. And it's not when you can be very open about, I can't go in openly and talk about my faith.
Yeah. Do you find that hard?
Yeah, there's times you could, there's maybe times you sort of think, oh, you could just say something, but you can in how you are. I think just in how you're being, hopefully it's living the life in the real life. And it's not always about what people say, is it? It's about how you are. People hopefully just say, oh, she's different. And who knows where it will lead.
I love that. I love Jesus. Maybe Jesus was the first social worker. That's good. That's made my day. That will be a quote going forwards. You ate.
I'm sure, it could be challenged in many ways, but I think, a lot of it is about social justice and wanting the best, and, everybody to be accepted and treated equally, and people to have everything that they need. So
yeah, it says that there's a verse in the Bible, I can't remember where it is, about standing up for the widows and the orphans, and in those about injustice. I'm really rubbish at Bible verses, So I'm sorry, but it does.
Yeah,
say that.
I'm exactly the same as you. I know it's there, but don't ask me where it is, Alice. And I probably should be able to say.
Yeah, if anyone listening knows where that verse is in the Bible and can drop us a comment, you will make us look extremely competent at what we're doing right now. And also, I think that's really. I think that also that comes back to the Jesus in real life is actually you can go into jobs and not have to be in your face about it with people, but show them Jesus in real life, isn't it? It's that in a way that has more impact sometimes than just being talked at, really. Are there things that you find particularly easy because of your relationship with Jesus, or things that you find particularly hard in your social worker role because of Jesus?
I think the key thing is my identity isn't my job title.
Yeah.
That's one part of who I am. So I think that can help me sometimes separate from what can be a really stressful job. You know, and when you're dealing with people's trauma all day, at the end of the day, I can offload that and I don't have to keep hold of it all, because my identity isn't just the fact that I'm a social worker. That's just one part of me. My identity is in Jesus. So, and if he wants me to be doing it, as I've said before, he's got to help me out, because otherwise you could really quickly go under and be, you know, make yourself ill with it all. And I guess that's the easy part of it, and also the hard part, because it's a remembering of that on those days when it is hard, and kind of going, I haven't got to take it all on, you know. Not my responsibility to sort and fix everything. I've got obviously what I've got to do. I'm not going to make everything better for everybody.
Yeah. We've got children creeping in.
Oh, we like your children, Alice.
Oh, good grief. Here we go. We've got Grace put up here. She loves it as Jesus being the first social worker. There we go. And Sam, amen to that. So important to have our identity in Christ. I think that's what it comes down to, really, isn't it? This series of Jesus in real life is where is your identity? Do you see Jesus as your identity, or do you see or your identity in Christ as part of God's family, or do you see your identity as your role that you carry out day to day? And then the merging of the two, you take is taking Jesus with you wherever you go, isn't it, really? So just to finish up then, last question. So if you have, okay, you can use who you're talking to, but what do you have a pearl of wisdom about people who maybe are Christians and have been of going into social work, or people who maybe aren't interested in going into social work as a role, but have kind of, I don't know, stand back at the idea of Christian social workers? This is have you got any last pearls?
I don't know about pearls of wisdom particularly, but I mean, if you're thinking about whether you can do it as a Christian, you can, as long as it's what you're supposed to be doing. So I would say ask the Lord whether that's what you should be doing, because if you're not where you should be doing what you should be doing, doesn't matter what your role is, it's not going to be as easy, and it's not going to work, is it, in the same way? And where those kind of want to judge as Christians in social work, well, one of the core things of social work is we should be non-judgmental, and we should be with people where they are. So I would just say we shouldn't be judging others. We love one another, whether we're Christians or not, or whether it's a non-Christian, and so much can be done by just showing love and care. and we should be treating everybody in that way. So if you hear that there's a Christian social worker, just listen and show love and care, please.
Give extra love and prayers for that person.
Absolutely, because it is a challenge sometimes, you know, and you come across people that would quite clearly judge you and go, well, you can't be, because a lot of people in the world perceive Christians as being judgmental. So to be able to show, actually, no, we don't have to be judgmental. We can show love and kindness.
Brilliant. So thank you for being here and talking to us some more. Next week, then, we have got somebody called Pete is coming on. He is a husband, he is a father, he is a Christian, he is a salesman, he travels a lot, and he is great fun. So join us for that one. I think Mark will be back next week. No promises. He may escape or drag out this non-committal on Sunday evenings. But yeah, so Pete's really fun. So if you have any questions, either for us or Sarah, I'm sure we can forward on any lovely questions about being a Christian and following Jesus in real life as a social worker. Or if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask Pete next week, because salespeople have a kind of a thing that goes before them, don't they? They're kind of in your face, bullshit salespeople, and he's very good at his job. But he is also the most lovely Christian man you will ever meet. So we are really looking forward to having him on and chatting to him about how he takes Jesus with him in real life as well. But we would definitely love to hear from you. Let's bring Hannah back on to say goodbye as well. Oh, there we go. You got sound, Hannah?
There you go.
Thank you for pressing our buttons this evening, Hannah. That's been brilliant. Haven't had to think too hard about that, so that's perfect. Thank you. And yeah, so we'll be back next Sunday, 8 o'clock, with Pete, who is a salesman, talking about Jesus in real life. But for now, we will wave and say goodbye. I'll take us off the screen and leave you till next week. So thank you. Bye.
Bye.